Hello, I'm Anne-Maria Nicholson and welcome to the Arts Quarter, coming to you from the Belvoir Theatre in Sydney. I'll be looking at how Australian artists are flying the flag at the London Olympics. Jackie Weaver takes Tinseltown by the tail, 1,000 shutterbugs shimmer in the Head-On Festival, and a final farewell to Jimmy Little. But first, Belvoir is a small theatre company that punches way above its weight, artistically, financially and on the world stage. The bottom line is unusually good this year, a $300,000 surplus. Attendances are at record levels and the recognition's flowing in with a growing stash of the country's top awards. What's making audiences both here and overseas sit up though and take notice is the company's reworking of the great classics. The latest, a new take on Eugene O'Neill's Strange Interlude.
Some Dom from home.
I like it.
When Strange Interlude made its Broadway debut in 1928, it shocked audiences and won a Pulitzer Prize. More than 80 years on, director Simon Stone has rewritten it to reflect today's values.
Very little work was required to strip away from his original play to create a play that feels like a contemporary international piece of writing. And that's what draws me to any of the works that I've rewritten, Wild Duck as well, is that they can talk to contemporary audiences in a really startling, present way.
Do you ever think of me?
Emily Barclay plays the pivotal role of Nina, aging 25 years during the show.
It's great to have that much time with a character and to see that much of a character and be able to explore them so fully.
The New Zealand-born actor has become a favourite here since she burst onto the screen 6 years ago in the racy suburban mayhem. It's yet to be seen if Strange Interlude becomes one of those plays that's snapped up outside of Sydney. But with Belvoir increasingly in demand globally, the chances look good.
Women in the late 1920s were in very different socio-political and moral environments. So the challenges that Nina faces in our contemporary world.
In a Coles to Newcastle scenario, Simon Stone's adaptation of the Ibsen classic Wild Duck is heading to its country of origin, to Norway for the Ibsen Festival.
Where Nina starts isn't such a huge leap from the character I played in May. Yeah, I feel incredibly lucky to be for all of those experiences that I've had, but to be able to do theatre now and to have arrived here from having done film.
We were all very excited at Belvoir to be able to take a show that represents very much the kind of work that we're making.
And Neil Armfield's The Book of Everything has just completed a successful New York season. The third time in 3 years, the former artistic director has put Belvoir-style theatre on the Big Apple's map. And we might be seeing a lot more of Simon Stone. He's among those being talked about to succeed Kate Blanchett and Andrew Upton as artistic director at the Sydney Theatre Company. The Sydney Theatre Company was financially in the red this last year, but it has also scored goals overseas, with 2 much-acclaimed productions on tour. The Washington Post named Uncle Vanya as last year's best play in America, with its stars Kate Blanchett and Hugo Weaving scooping major American prizes. And it opens in New York in July. And its staging of German play, Gross und Klein, had sell-out shows and rave reviews in Paris and London, and it's now in Vienna. In London, it was part of Australia's contribution to the cultural Olympiad, a 4-year-long arts extravaganza that's part of the Olympics. And now, as some of our best sportsmen and women gear up for the London Olympics, other teams of elite Australian performers are also preparing to show off their best in Britain. When Rhiannon Spratling was growing up in Perth, she had no idea that this was where her ballet lessons would take her. She's one of the aerial dancers in Legs on the Wall, bound for Britain as part of the London Cultural Olympiad.
It's way beyond what I thought I would be capable of. Dancing suspended metres above the ground on a ship in front of thousands of people is not kind of what I thought would happen when I started ballet all those years ago.
For months, the troopers practiced in a warehouse, preparing to team up with a Birmingham company to present The Voyage. It will be a massive outdoor spectacle costing more than $1 million.
We took the inspiration from the whole Olympic journey, where people head to a new city and, every 4 years with dreams and hopes and aspirations which may or may not be fulfilled.
The Australians will be part of a cast of more than 200 performers, taking huge audiences on a creative journey on an ocean liner to an unknown land. Long before they've started, the London Olympics have proved a boon for Australian artists. Some of our best performers have already wowed the Brits, and there's plenty more preparing to go. The Sydney Theatre Company has had a sell-out season on the West End with its acclaimed production of the play Gross and Klein featuring Kate Blanchett. The Brisbane company Circa will follow. In June, the Contemporary Circus Group will join an English song company in shows at England's most noted cathedrals.
It's, the gig of a lifetime, I guess.
Like the elite Australian sports stars competing in the Olympics, these artists are also at the top of their game. Anne-Maria Nicholson, ABC News. It has all the makings of a fairy tale. A Sydney schoolgirl breaks into acting playing in a pantomime called Cinderella. 50 years later, she has the international movie world at her feet. For Australian actor Jackie Weaver, the dream has come true. It took her until the age of 64 for Hollywood to come knocking, but now she's the talk of Tinseltown.
I feel sick about this.
After dozens of film, TV and theatre performances, Jackie Weaver's face is extremely familiar in Australia. But until her role in Animal Kingdom, she was unknown internationally. That's about to change.
This is why we do not delay weddings.
I hope I'm not such an old bitch as the one in the film. She's so vile.
David Michôd's acclaimed low-budget flick transformed the plain-speaking actor's career. Her gangster matriarch role won her a string of accolades, from Sundance to an Oscar nomination.
I had people vying to be my agent and my manager and even my lawyer. Sometimes overwhelmed by it. It's pretty good. I get to read a couple of scripts a week.
Just shy of 65, Jackie Weaver's in the Hollywood fast lane. She speaks in a range of American accents, but would like to introduce the world to Australian voices, one in particular.
I really love the way the Prime Minister speaks, and she gets such stick for it.
But has fame brought fortune?
I'm not rich yet. I'm hoping it'll happen.
If you could write your dream role now, what would it be?
I like playing people that are as far removed from myself as possible. So a homicidal, psychopathic lesbian.
One assumes that everything is going to turn out like some wonderful...
Her movie, The 5-Year Engagement, hits the screen soon. With 4 more films in the past year and others on the horizon, film lovers are going to see a whole lot more of Jackie Weaver. From digital images of long-dead kings to spectacular shots of Lake Eyre. Around 1,000 shutterbugs are showing off their best for one of the world's biggest photography spectaculars. And it seems there's nothing the photographers won't do to make an impression in the Head-On Festival, including posing as Napoleon. There's not a day goes by that Peter Elfers doesn't think of his experiences of photographing Lake Eyre and how lucky he is to be alive.
And everything that I do in my artist life at the moment it revolves around Lake Eyre and what's happening out there. And of course, I can't do that without thinking about them.
He's talking about ABC journalist Paul Lockyer, helicopter pilot Gary Ticehurst and cameraman John Bean. He was supposed to be flying with them when they died in a helicopter crash last year. Peter Elfers' photography is one of 200 exhibitions in the Head-On Festival. 4 years of photographing Lake Eyre has made him a firm supporter of the native title claim by the Illaraka and Arabana tribes. He believes they'll soon gain ownership of 71,000 square kilometres around the lake, and with that would come a name change.
Its new name will be Kati Thundra, and I think it's important that we recognise the traditional owners.
The Lake Eyre images share Customs House with another exhibition that couldn't be more different. Quirky yet strangely familiar, these digital montages of monarchs and warlords were 7 years in the making. Alexia Sinclair's more than a photographer. She chooses the models, including a TV producer to pose as a pope, makes the clothes and designs the sets. She herself poses as Napoleon.
Well, I'm little, I'm very ambitious, and put on the outfit and held my eagle and took on Napoleon.
Photography will be the flavour of the month, 100 venues and 1,000 shooters. He was known as Uncle Jimmy, and at a state memorial at the Sydney Opera House, those close to Jimmy Little remembered a singer who gave his all in a career spanning 5 decades. The Aboriginal singer was renowned for bridging generations of fans from all walks of life. He died in April at the age of 75. Flags at half-mast, a smoking ceremony and traditional welcome. Jimmy Little's formal farewell combined the singer's own love of Australia old and new.
Oh, I'm feeling sad at the loss of a great man. I'm feeling proud of what he did.
Hundreds gathered to remember the man whose music evoked love and joy, despite a childhood in a dirt-poor mission and an early career marred by racism.
He may have been little by name, but he was large by vision, by generosity and by commitment.
The Sydney Opera House filled with musical tributes from his family. His grandson, James Henry, singing with the original Jimmy Little trio, Cyril Green and Doug Peters.
This great and ancient land.
His daughter, Frances Peters Little.
So wide and free.
And his niece, Deborah Cheetham.
What has been left behind is not just a great musical legacy, but a legacy around health, a legacy about social justice, and some clear messages for us going forward.
Despite chronic ill health, Jimmy rarely stopped smiling. His favourite comedian, Mary G, led the audience in a final farewell.
I get no credit.
They sang as one, the Royal Telephone, Jimmy Little's own Aussie anthem.
When you get in trouble, give this Royal Line a call. Everybody!
And that's all for now. See you again soon on the Arts Quarter for more news on arts and entertainment.